This is Veiled Snake, a painting I made in 2019. It's acrylic and oil paint on canvas. The retail value of this work is $5,000 if I were to sell it myself. Let's talk about cost. Hey y'all, welcome to my studio. My name is Daniel Barragán. I'm from El Paso, Texas. I've been working in New York for about 10 years now. I came here for school and just never left. What college really did for me was it told me how to make work, how to sell work, what materials to use. It was really an insider's guide to like all this stuff. The retail value of the artwork is material-based mostly, but then I consider my time and my education in the arts. That kind of gets rounded into the cost as well. It's basically 3 paintings in one, and I've priced it in such a way. 3 like pretty basic canvas you could buy at any hardware store. Any art store, you put gesso on top of them, which is a material to allow the acrylic to sit on. It's 128 fluid ounces, $90 for this bucket. The cheaper bucket of gesso could be like 50, 60, and what the cheaper one is just not as white. I tend to use a lot of medium in my acrylic paint, which kind of allows for more body, more texture on the canvas. Acrylic I use mostly to sketch out the image. It's a cheaper, more affordable paint. I finish it off in oil paint. I tend to use some of my older paint brushes that I've had. I kind of like the texture it gives. It's also cost effective. I'm not really having to buy new brushes all the time. I like to keep my paint in jars to reuse. These become my palettes. I use mostly with acrylic. I only use these with acrylic because when the acrylic dries on top of the plastic, you could peel it off really easily. And this is just trash. Another cost into this all the work is the studio space. I share it with 3 other studio mates. Before this, I didn't have a studio to work in, so I was working out of my apartment. It was more cost effective that way, but I wasn't able to create the work I wanted to create. So how I kind of break down my pricing, this painting, for instance, took me anywhere from 2 to 3 months. So it was a big chunk of time for me, and I did put a lot of time in, so I use that as a value in my work. The time spent making it, and as well as the time spent thinking about it, studying about it. And then I also create these works on the computer before I create them in person. It helps me decide which work I want to spend time on and which work I don't want to spend time on. I start about 1 o'clock, right after lunch, and I paint up until about 6 o'clock. I spend my nights and mornings kind of doing the administrative stuff. Send emails, I edit photos to show new work. The truth is that I have years worth of like artwork in my head, and it's kind of like what I could do at that time. Like, what do I have in my bank account? How can I make it happen? It is kind of this business discipline that I've kind of put myself. It's not really profitable for me to have the materials just laying around. They have to be completed and like out the door, basically. Another thing I think of when I am pricing my work is the work past as well, and see how it fits into my catalog. The point of selling work for me is to keep the studio going. I make smaller works that are more affordable. Part of selling work is introducing people to buying work. So creating new first collectors or new buyers, people who haven't bought work before, and it kind of gets them excited to keep collecting. This is a long game for me. I expect to be in my 50s making paintings. Whatever I could do to make it to my 50s making paintings is my success for me.